Hey everybody, it's Joe Trippi, and welcome back to That Trippi Show. With us today, Galen, special guest, good friend, who's president of the union and has a Homefront podcast that is a must listen. Basically, I have been proud to join Reed on several different crazy projects along the way. It's great to have you with us, Reed. Thanks for doing this.
No, thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me as always.
He's helping Alex have a few more moments with the baby.
Well, as I said, if I had known it was for Alex, I wouldn't be here. So I'll do it for you, but not for him.
Right. So anyway, look, a lot going on this week. Wanted to get your take. There's a lot of people starting to think that Trump is becoming a lame turkey or a lame duck. I don't know if you have those same feelings or not, or you think that's just a bunch of crazy people to even think that. So I want to get your take.
Well, Trump has been officially done about 8,432 times in the last 10 years. So I will be the skeptic that says that this is the end of him. But I think it's more important, Joe, to even discuss what that means. So he's a lame duck.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Is he going to leave office? Not if he doesn't have to. Is he going to keep control of a Republican Congress for the next 13 months until a new Congress is seated in January 2027? We should assume he is. Does he still have the capacity to fight, let's say, a war in Venezuela if he wants to without congressional approval? It appears he does. Is he still going to deploy ICE into cities? Is he going to give passes to AI and Saudi Arabia and hold financial data and economic data? He is. And so when we talk about lame duck status, I think that's fine. But we've never had, even if he is a lame duck, we've never had one like him before, where the entirety of the political class in Washington, D.C. has said, you're done, right? It's the last. I mean, think about whether or not it was Obama,
Right.
think about Bush, think about,
Yeah.
Clinton may be a little bit different because, I still think this is amazing. And I know you have another show with Joe Klein. Clinton left office with a 66% approval rating. Right. So he doesn't commit, Reagan. So all of those were lame ducks in their own way, especially as the next presidential campaign started to come on. Right. Even with Biden, they're still there. They're still running the world, but the time is now passing them by. Trump has never been willing to be the person who is being passed up, passed by, or pushed aside. And I don't think for the next 3+ years, again, barring some extraordinary event, either health-wise or something else, that we should assume that name applies to him like it has to others.
Okay, I'm still looking for lame turkeys because it's Thanksgiving. What about Mike Johnson? There are some people who think like 3 or 4 more midterm retirements. People who just resign like Marjorie Taylor Greene did early next year. Could literally take the gavel. He could lose the gavel just by attrition. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. But is that given you kind of I think have better understanding of what's happened, what makes a Republican member of Congress tick? Although not even you or I can figure that out these days. But what's your take on him being a lame turkey?
Well, he is a turkey. He's a rotten turkey for sure. He is he has managed to keep them all together. But again, I'm not sure how he would be able to do that without Trump sitting down Pennsylvania Avenue.
Right.
McCarthy wasn't able to do it while Biden was still in office because there wasn't that force, that energy within the party and the movement that kept them all in place. I don't think there's a lot of people who like Mike Johnson. To call him the accidental speaker is an insult to accidents. So I think that he knows he only has so many votes. And I think the other part is, Greene is going to go, but you've already seen that a guy like Don Bacon from Nebraska, he even said, I saw a quote from him saying, I was thinking about quitting early because I'm so sick of all of this, but I'm going to stick it out. Jared Golden's a Democrat, but he sometimes votes with Republicans. I think that with Greene leaving, he's down one more seat. With a guy like Thomas Massie out there, he's going to make Johnson's life miserable. Remember that. I think they have
Yeah.
another. There's probably another continuing resolution coming
Oh,
due in
sure. Yeah.
January.
Yep.
There, and so like a Massey's an interesting cat because he's under assault by all these Trump donors. In his, I think he's Kentucky 1. And when you hear Massey, like when I agree with Massey, like even 30% of the time, something's really upside down. And when he says, I have this card where they're telling me that the deficit's not going to be that bad. And I'm telling you, it's going to be that bad. Now, Massey is telling the truth, but not for the reasons you and I would like it to, which is he wants government cut more, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
at least he's
Yeah.
being honest about the fact that, like, not only are we not paying bills I don't want to pay, we're not paying any bills.
Right.
And
Yep.
all of this is hooey. So and it would be fascinating to see. I don't even know throughout history, Joe, whether or not that's ever happened, where because of attrition that the speakership has transferred from one party to the other. It would be hard to believe that it had. But I would say this is if the Democrats in the U.S. House, if Hakeem Jeffries and his people think that's a real possibility, then if and when the day comes in calendar 26, when that happens, they better come out of the gate with a heck of a big proposal for the American people. We have just taken over the U.S. House. Here's what we're going to do to defend you against this, and here's what we're going to do to help you over the course of the next, let's call it 5 months. And
Yep.
here's what we're going to do over the course of the next 2 years. I wrote about this on Substack this morning. Like in 2026, Democrats got to go big. They've got wind at their back, right? The tide is with us, not necessarily because Democrats have done so much right, but
Right.
because Donald Trump is an albatross. He's a turkey
Yeah.
around. He's a big leaden turkey around the necks of Republicans when he is in office, but not on the ballot. And I think that Democrats should take advantage of that. Johnson's going to be under incredible pressure, especially, I'll shut up after this, from those red district Republicans for whom costs are skyrocketing. Maybe Medicare has been cut back. Obamacare subsidies are going
Right.
away. Inflation is killing them. Unemployment is rising. These are people who they do see a life past Trump. They would like to stay in office because, frankly, they're not qualified to do anything else, and they don't want to do anything else because what other job pays you $200,000 a year to work 3 days a week? And so I would say that Johnson's going to be under incredible pressure to do a bunch of things that his true MAGA economically populist members want to do that neither Trump nor his people want to do, and frankly, some establishment Democrats might not want to do either.
I appreciate the turkey references.
I did that for you.
Oh, thank you. So let's go to what do you think of the redistricting stuff? With now that the court is maybe holding up Texas, Indiana's not going to do it. California's got past the 5. It's just, you think this is like? A lot of people are talking. I think it's backfiring miserable on what the Republicans and Trump thought they were going to get. But is it too early to tell, or do you think it won't have much impact at all?
I think it could have an impact. I think Prop 50 passing,
Yeah.
frankly, by as much as it did, I was really surprised. In fact, a friend of mine who's from Texas said, you said it wasn't going to pass. I said, I think, Joe, you and I talked about this. When something starts at 53, you assume it's going to end at 45, right? Like not at 67.
Not going to happen.
Right? That's not supposed to happen, especially when you're outspent 3 or 4 to 1. Like that's not how any of that's supposed to go. I feel bad for all of those Republican congressmen who are now basically going to be stuck in a district in Death Valley or something, right? Like it's not only is it not where they were, it's not someplace anybody really wants to spend a lot of time to begin with. But you see in Texas, what I've heard from down there is that Abbott will have to bring in the Texas legislature probably in the next few days, right after Thanksgiving, because their March primary is so early that they have candidate filings in December. So they're probably going to have to push that into the new year, at least to January, maybe a little bit later, which is going to push their primary back because they don't want to have candidate filing if people Like if you have a
Yeah.
whole bunch of districts that don't exist and nobody's running in them, right? What do you do then? And then I think here in Utah, where I live, where a judge just redrew the congressional map to put a Democratic district in the heart of Salt Lake County. There was a press conference this morning too, where I think the Democratic legislature is going to try and do that or excuse me, the Republican legislature here is going to try and push back filing dates, which are in early January here too, to try and get that seat back, based on
Yes.
the court. So, but the point, your point is a good one, which is they thought this was a done deal. And I have a hard time believing that either Greg Abbott or the powers that be in the Texas legislature or Republicans in Utah thought that a sitting judge was going to take them on. And the Utah, just as an aside, the Utah Supreme Court has made very clear just in the last year or so to the legislature, and we have sort of like a Oliver Cromwell style legislature here, right? Like the king doesn't matter, the governor doesn't matter, the legislature does what it wants, which is the people are sovereign.
Yeah.
I think that's a good reminder. So I think it's messing up their plans, but we should be very clear, like they're not going to stop. They're going to do everything they can, and we shouldn't assume that just because of a swerve here or a swerve there, that they don't have a whole bunch of dirty tricks up their sleeve they're going to deploy between now and next year.
Oh no, they've got plenty of those. The result that I lined up with California too was what happened with Maine Prop 1, because it was the same 64%. I mean, Maine's not California, and the Republican, put the Prop 1 on to restrict voting, require ID, limit the number of drop boxes, everything, absentee ballot. And 64% of Maine said hell no and voted against it. So, I mean, I think that along with California just shows, I think people are getting the threat. And you're right, though. There's more dirty tricks and everything else coming up the pipe that they will. And I think the other thing is the more Trump even senses the lameness, the more authoritarian and power grabbing he'll get in terms of and over the line he'll get in terms of the tactics that he uses to stay in power.
I think that's right, and that's history teaches us that the more cornered a would-be tin-pot dictator feels, the more that they try and deploy federal power, the security services, to put that down. And in the famous words of Princess Leia, the more you tighten your grip, the more people slip through your fingers. That's just for you.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Thank you. So here's I mentioned this before we came on. Department of Homeland Security releasing its fiscal year over year, crime, numbers, and among them, I just found these kind of fascinating, given ICE and everything, and troops in the street, and Trump railing about crime in our cities, and we've got to we've got to stop it all. Department of Homeland Security reports that it made 11 fewer gun arrests, 11% fewer gun arrests this year, 28% fewer indictments for child exploitation crimes, and 73 fewer guns were taken off the street in this fiscal year. 73% fewer guns taken off the street, which is, I think I'll let you rail here, but it's the opposite of everything they've been screaming about. But I'm not sure, as you point out, that Homeland Security actually cares about Homeland Security.
No, I don't think they do. My 15-year-old daughter asked me the other day about the types of people that work in the Trump administration. I said, in my mind, you really only have two: crazy / incompetent and evil. Crazy and incompetent is the definition of Kristi Noem.
Right.
And she's, I was watching the Formula One race in Las Vegas. I wasn't in Las Vegas. We were watching on television, and there she is, like in Vegas for a car race, in the middle of the night on a Saturday. Like, what are you doing, right? She's spending $200 million on this ad campaign with a fly-by-night LLC run by a bunch of her people. These people are everything you expect them to be. They don't care about their jobs. I tend to believe, Joe, that if you take on a role pre-Trump or pre-anybody as a federal law enforcement officer, you probably, when you take that oath, do want to do your best. I don't think
Right.
that you sign up to get a federal badge and a gun and to say, I hope there's more child exploitation, and I hope it happens on my watch. I hope there's more illegal guns in the street, and it's okay with me. These are all policy decisions. Now, does it surprise me that someone like Donald Trump, who would pal around with a guy like Jeffrey Epstein, his administration is not particularly concerned with child exploitation? I'm not
Yeah.
surprised by that at all.
Yeah.
If you look at all of the different things of pastors or Republican members of Congress, or my friend Tom LoBianco, who's been doing this incredible reporting out of Indiana with, somebody close to lieutenant governor with all of these things. They don't care about you. They never have. They've never cared about any of us. And so the idea that they don't care about kids being trafficked or exploited, again, not surprising at all. The fact that any of us put up with it is the most surprising thing, but I think that is wearing thin too.
Well, I'm waiting for Noam to do to stand at the podium and talk about how and do it this way, that they've done such a great job at reducing crime that 11% fewer guns arrests were made.
Right.
Go the other way. We couldn't find any guns to take off the streets. 73% fewer. We got it down so good. I mean, it's just Orwellian. But I mean, the fact that they even put these numbers out was astonishing to me, because it just shows how like not getting it is. I mean, I would have expected them to hide these numbers, but hey, they put them out.
Right. And again, I don't know how many people are looking at these numbers, how many otherwise normal people that
Right.
clearly you and I don't fall into that category. But I would venture to say that nobody read them, nobody cares, and even if they did, nobody's surprised. And I think that's maybe the most upsetting thing, as I said just a minute ago, is how much of this stuff happens and it goes by, and people are just like, okay.
Well, how little of it's reported too. I mean, I don't think that I think I've seen one report about this, and it was the Times. Is there anything else going on that you think we should be aware of, or you're watching?
So I'd like to talk a little bit more about 2026 and
Sure.
what I see as the opportunities. Again, Democrats netted 40 seats in 2018. My projection, Joe, is that if they don't match that number, it should be a disappointment. We should try and eclipse that number. If I had it my way, you've been doing this longer than I had. If somebody said, Reed, here's $25 million, I would be up with $1 million of just brutal ads, door to door, everything, mini campaigns in 25 frontline Republican districts. I take
Right now.
I think right now, I think we should spend early money. If they're down 14 points in the generic, get them to 20 points by New Year's. Right. Just crush them. And the to me, the most, it seems obvious, but maybe it's not, is you don't even have to invoke Donald Trump. You just have to say this guy or this gal said your life was going to be better, and it's not. This person said you were going to be okay, and you're not. Do you think a year from now you'll be better? And you won't. And if you want to bring in, with particular audiences, if you want to bring in Epstein, that's more of a depressant than anything else. But also understand that to do this is a strategy of depressing Republican voters and denying Republican members of Congress an easy run. And as you know, because we've done this for so long, if you can get these members into that bunker mentality and get them really screwed on the wrong way, then they will act as badly as you want them to, because they'll be scrambling. They're not used to this stuff. And for me, I say as a former Republican and a Democratic ally, to say the least, like, be a little bit more like we used to be. I thought of this quote from Steve Bannon, who I don't quote very often, which is, when they're on the floor, step on their neck, right?
Yeah.
Like, be tough. Your voters are looking for it. Your voters are expecting it. No voters, no matter what anybody says, Joe, is offended by that, right? Hard campaigning has been part of American life since John Adams, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is not new. Being difficult, being tough, being bare-knuckled in American politics is part and parcel of the game. If you think that we're going to win this fight in white gloves with canapes and PhDs, like, I got another thing coming. We have a real opportunity, and we should take every opportunity, every chance we can to smash the Republican Party from frickin' Seattle to Miami. right? Like,
Absolutely. But the real problem there, not because one, I totally agree with you. We were railing against the whole together with some other folks railing against the whole the future forward kind of mentality in the party, the big PAC, the super PAC with the Democratic Party of spending money late. They believe in spending it late, so hoarding it and spending it late on bad TV ads that don't make any difference. Because it's like, yeah, we'll let them, we'll get demonized for 4 years and we'll show up in October with some
right.
bad, with a bunch of ads. No, it's like getting them now. Go after them right now and pound the daylights out of them. I agree with that.
Well, and let me just say about, look, it could be any super PAC, but you brought up
Yeah.
Future Forward. So let me hold them to account a little bit. Like, who deputized you people to save the Republic?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
made it your choice to spend $2 billion badly at the exact wrong time in the exact wrong way? I mean, this is the other part. And I know we could go on about, incompetence
Yeah.
in political campaigns and the misallocation of not only resources, but also what people really care about, which is if you spent $3 billion to lose a presidential campaign, like, you should go to Alaska and leave the rest of us alone, because you don't have any business running political campaigns, devising strategy, or being creative. You take an idea, you put $1 million of polling and focus grouping behind it, you come up with a crappy ad, you run it 1 million times through Facebook to take off whatever hard edges there could be because you don't want any, quote, blowback, and then you put it on the air for $3 million and 1,000 gross rating points, and you can't figure out why your numbers don't move. Like, what
Yeah.
is it,
No,
1987?
yeah, and focus group the hell out of it to take off those rough edges to make because that we didn't want to bug that guy in the corner. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
and as
crazy.
I think I've told you before, Joe, when somebody told me what a blowback score is, and for the listeners, this is the percentage by which from 0 to 100, a viewer of a particular ad is upset. I started laughing because I said, we want it to be 100 every time,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's the number. If we have a blowback score below 75, go back to the drawing board. We didn't do it right.
Yeah, you didn't wake anybody up. You didn't hit anybody. You didn't emotionally tug somebody. It's just basically that, as you know, I mean, our party is the Democratic Party is like it's not a top-down party in terms of like one pack or somebody. I mean, that one pack may
Right.
have a ton of money, but there's no real way until we have a nominee in 2028 to change the core, the way that the party does stuff or what the messaging is. I mean, otherwise it'll be this year. I mean, it'll be. And by the way, I do think we're going to get pushed the 40 seats, but I think it's more dependent on the union and others, you know, focused on the 40 or 50 places that we can fight and start fighting now. I know you're doing that and organizing it. In other words, I think we're going to have 40 or 50 really good candidates who represent, you know, their district in Utah or their district in California.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
and
but but
it's up
man,
to us to make it happen because I don't believe that. I mean, if we push this, the PACs will come. And you know what I'm trying to say? It's like we've got to do it first because waiting for Future Forward or somebody to go, oh yeah, we should get in there early. Not going to happen. That's why people got to get money to places like the union and other things that have this attitude of get them out now.
and let me just disagree with you a little bit on the whole 2028 piece of this. Because to me, the one thing I've observed, Joe, as someone who's now fought alongside Democrats for almost 6 years,
Sure.
is that every 2 years the party has to reinvent itself and
Mhm.
recreate its coalition, which takes an enormous amount of time, an enormous amount of energy. And by the time you've done that, to your point, now it's September and you're just
Right.
hoping to God that your people show up. And I said this, again, being a former Republican, and when I say this, understand it doesn't really matter if it's true. But when I was a kid, the idea of the Republican Party was limited government, fiscal responsibility, moral and muscular foreign policy. None of those things were probably true then. They're certainly not true now. But you know what?
Right.
They've been saying it every day for 70 years.
Right.
Right. And so to me, a party's belief system and ethos has to be able to transcend the individual election cycle or the individual president. And I think to me, it's a broader indication that there is a real schism, a real thoughtful, and I think real substantive schism within the party of what it wants to be, which is the Chuck Schumers and the Hakeem Jeffries, which is we just have to get through this period and everything will snap back to normal, which I completely disagree with.
Yeah, that's
and
wrong.
then
Yeah,
then you
exactly.
have the more economic progressives of it could be a Mamdani, a Graham Plattner, a Mallory McMorrow. All of those people are like, no, this is the world that exists now, and these are supposed to be our people, working
Right.
Americans, poor Americans, not just educated elites on the coast and the people
Right.
who've been with us for so long, they don't have any place else to go, because we see what happens when they have no place else to go. They do, and it's their couch, right? And we
Right.
can't afford that. So to me, you're right that that's probably what will happen. But to me,
Well,
the real project is coming up with an idea or an ideal that can serve as the umbrella for all Democrats to sit underneath, as opposed to trying to figure out how am I supposed to go do this on my own, because then you could get picked off piecemeal and you become subject, as we've seen so many times in the past, to individual Republicans' attacks on this issue or that issue, because now you're on defense all the time, you're reacting all the time, which is exhausting.
yeah, no, I mean, that's the thread that held Mondami, Mikey Sherrill, Abigail Spanberger, the affordability crisis. I mean, that they were focused on in different ways, but focused on it. I think that is going to be there with the 40, 50 seats that we need to do. I just meant in terms of trying my experience in our party has been, yeah, I think you're one of the people, it's like the hope and change was nowhere until Barack Obama came along, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our part. Same with Clinton and the boy from Hope and all that stuff. I mean, in
Yeah.
other words, it's gonna somebody will emerge here, and I mean, you start seeing Newsom and others,
Right.
leadership starting to emerge, but this is going to be a 40-seat fight. That we have to lead. I think our candidates and us, we have to lead in. Also, just to want to give a shout out to Doug Jones,
Oh, sure.
who I think is an important piece of this. For those of our listeners who don't know, Doug is getting into the race for governor of Alabama. That came out yesterday. Alex and I have been a little busy with that, but wanted to make sure before we close out the show today to urge people to check out what he's saying, and he's got some videos out there, and the response has just been amazing. And I think he's going to be a voice that can help get to what you're talking about, Reed, in terms of developing a message that can build the umbrella party that needs to win in 2026 and 2028.
Yeah, and for years, I've always thought that Democratic candidates from the Midwest and the South, I don't want to say had an easier time of it, but because they typically have to spend more time around normal humans, I feel like they're actually able to speak to normal humans better, because they're not stuck in New York or LA or wherever it is. And I think, look, Doug has been a U.S. attorney. He's been a U.S. senator. He's obviously got an incredible track record. And I think that Alabama is one of those states. We saw in Mississippi, right, where 3 black candidates broke the Republican supermajority when they weren't supposed to. In Georgia, 2 statewide candidates for, I think, the Public Service Commission, won for the first time in however many years. And so I think what we're seeing is that the, call it the Trump era, the Trumpism, the just patent incompetence is really hurting Republican candidates, because they are incompetent. They are crazy.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with somebody earlier today. We were talking about the Virginia race between Abigail Spanberger and Winsome Sears, and I said, well, It helped Spanberger too that Winsome Sears is an absolute nut. And he said, yeah, but they're all nuts now. And I said, that's a great point, right?
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
it's not like Tommy Tuberville is going to be smarter or more
Yeah.
sophisticated or like make
More
you feel better
thoughtful.
about that. Yeah, more thoughtful,
Yeah.
a year from now than he is today. Like he's not. He's an idiot, right? I mean, okay, so he was an okay football coach, sure. But like Alabamans are like, yeah, he coached at Auburn. Terrific. Right? Like
Yeah.
now what?
Yeah. Well, also a lot of the policies and things we've been talking about that are hurting people are, policies that these guys have all supported and just nodded and kneeled and said, yeah, sure, go ahead. And Tommy Tuberville is one of them. And so, as people experience their healthcare costs go up, the impact on tariffs on the prices of everything and the agricultural impact and on soybeans. And I guess he's trying to release the tariffs on beef and other things to try to stave that off. But no, this is all,
I
I
mean, and
think,
this is, I mean, may I just interrupt? I mean, this is one thing for some reason, maybe it's because that my phone is listening to me too much, Joe, but I got fed on TikTok this morning. There's a TikTok show about the cattle industry. Now, I don't know if that's the only place it is. I assume it's on YouTube, but this is a guy who's been in the cattle business for however long. And he said, if you shipped every cow from Argentina to America, it would increase the beef supply in the United States 2.5%. Is that going to bring beef prices down? No.
oh,
Tyson just
of course
Tyson just shut down a massive plant in Nebraska. Do you think that's going to bring prices down? No. Prices are going to go up, and now 6,700 people are out of work. Right? Like they don't have anything good to say other than they're socialists, they're trans, they're this, they're that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't give any of it daylight. I go, they're all full of shit. It's all shit. They know it's shit. You know it's shit. They're talking about this stuff because they got nothing else to talk about. Let me ask you something. Do you worry about me being a socialist? You know why? Because I'm not. And I'm not. But that guy, one thing we can't agree on is he's a moron. Right? Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Right? Like take it to these people, right? Metaphorically punch them in the face. They're not prepared for it. Tommy Tuberville is not a good enough politician to deal with an aggressively run campaign.
Yeah.
He's not.
I agree. We're
Sorry,
going
I
to
didn't
get
mean
you
to get
down
all
there.
wound up.
No,
Now, listen, I love
we'll
Alabama.
get you down there. We'll get you down there.
I love Alabama. I love Birmingham. I love Biloxi. No, that's in Mississippi. No, Mobile. Excuse me, Mobile. I've been to Biloxi. Sorry, I got my Gulf Coast states mixed up. I got screamed at by the mayor of Orange Beach once. So yeah, I've spent plenty of time in Alabama. My grandfather went to Alabama for grad school. So,
I think the two of us are going to end up spending some time down there this cycle.
So long as we can go and get some ribs and
exactly.
anything where they haven't changed the fryer oil since before the Nixon administration. That's the place I want to eat.
This is we're dropping this the day after Thanksgiving. I just want you to people are just digesting their food right now.
Well, listen, I mean, we have to probably, like, if I eat in the South for more than like a week straight, then I will have to definitely double or triple my Lipitor intake because I cannot deny myself the food I find down there.
In the 2017 race, Alex and I were down there. I loved it. I really loved Alabama. The food's great. But look, before we go, anything? Where can people find you?
Sure. Listen, as always, guys, you can find me at says.us at Reed Galen. That's where I am on most socials. Please check out my Substack. It's also called The Home Front, and jointheunion.us. That's jointheunion.us. We've got 175,000 volunteers across the country, 100 partner organizations. If there's something you want to be involved in the state you're in, we can help you find it. We can plug you in. We always need the help. We had a great year, Joe, like so many of us did in Virginia, in New Jersey, in Maine, in Pennsylvania. We spent a lot of time and manpower and woman power in Pennsylvania on those 3 judicial races there. We're really focused on state and local races and making sure with some of our partner groups that no race goes uncontested in 2026. Remember, in 2024, 70% of races went uncontested, and in 75% of those, it was a Democrat who didn't run. So we cannot win if we're not playing the game. And so I just want to say thank you to you. Congrats to Alex and Katie, and really thanks for having me, Joe.
No, thanks for being on. Thanks everybody for listening to that Trippi show. And look, Alex will be back next week, we think. We're hoping. And so everybody except Reed. He was hoping. But
I'll come back. You want me back?
Yeah.
The listeners, Meg might not want me back. Like the listeners might not want me back, but I'll make time.
Thanks, man. Thanks again. Thanks for helping give Alex a break. And like I said, folks, I hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving, and we'll see you next week, and Alex will be here. Take care, all.